Hi, Richard Fiske, welcome back to my channel. Thanks for tuning in. Today we're going to learn about ND filters, polarizing filters, when to use them, how to use them, and why we use them. Check out the video. Okay, so why do we need filters? When we need them and how we use them? The main reason for using filters is to get the 180-degree rule so that we can get the right motion blur in your video. The 180-degree rule is basically you use your frame rate, whatever that is at, and then you double that, you get your shutter speed, and that will create your nice motion blur. Motion blur for films, for instance, most cinema films you go and see what the human brain is used to, what we're used to seeing. For instance, if I wave my hand, you'll see my hand blurry, and that's what you're used to. If you see it at faster shutter speed, it would look unnatural. That shutter speed for the human brain is about 24-25 frames per second, and that's what you go to cinema and you see all your films in. And that motion blur is what we're trying to achieve by using the filters. So therefore, the 180-degree rule, shooting at 24-25 frames per second, you'll need 50th of shutter speed. If you're shooting at 30 frames per second, you'll double that and use it at 1/60th of the shutter speed, and etc, etc. And so that's basically the rule. Don't use it for photography, just use it for videos. Get that proper motion blur and it'll be set. So let's run the video. You can see how I do that. Take it from there. Hope you learned something. Here we have the Mavic Air switched on. So this is what you can see out of the camera. As you see, this histogram, it shows that it's basically equally exposed. There's no peaks at the left where it's dark, or no major peaks right towards the edges of the right where it's overexposed. And you can see basically this is on auto. If I now switch this over to manual, my frame rate I want at 30 frames per second, therefore my shutter speed, double the frame rate, 30 frames per second, should be at 1/60th. So if I now show that at 1/60th, you have a very overexposed image, and you can see from this histogram, you can see there that it's a spike right at the very right, which means it's mainly overexposed. So to compensate that, if I wanted to do it manually without a filter, I'd have to increase my shutter speed, say up to 1/320th or 1/400th to get the correct exposure. But obviously with that, you're not following the 180-degree rule to get the proper motion blur. So the only way to actually get the proper motion blur is to adjust the shutter speed, and to do that you need to put on your ND filter, effectively like a pair of sunglasses. So I'll now go and change ND filter. I'll put that on and you can see the difference it will make. So if I put on, let's say, the ND16 Polarizing Filter, click that into place. So if I now do the 180-degree rule and change that shutter speed to 1/60th, you can see from the histogram I'm moving about, it's nice and basically exposed correctly. So that will give you 180-degree rule, correct shutter speed against your frame rate. Now on this as well, I've actually got the polarizing filter, and the polarizing filter will allow you, if I demonstrate now, you can actually turn the filter, and if you look at the clouds, you can see that they're becoming more whiter and the sky bluer. It also pops out the colors of the golf course as well. So polarizing filters or ND filters will act basically to, like your sunglasses, to get you the 180-degree rule, and polarizing filters will allow you to cut out the glare, for instance on water, reflective surfaces, etc. So that's where you would use the polarizing side of things. So you can see the difference there as I turn it around. So effectively, there you can see the use of the polarizing filter. Now you wouldn't necessarily need to use a polarizing filter or an ND filter when you're shooting high up, because if you're going over a landscape from a high altitude, you're not really going to notice any motion blur. It's only when you're flying close to the ground or water or tree that you'll notice the motion blur, and that's what the human eye
recognizes, the human brain recognizes the motion blur, which is about 25 frames per second, and that's why you use filters. Okay, so I hope you learned something from the video. I hope you liked it. Please leave a comment or any questions you have down below, and obviously please subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you on the next video. See you soon.